So I'm excited. We're still at Skills USA, and I have Howard Davis with us, and he is a field training administrator with Brasfield Gorrie. So glad to have you, Howard.
I am glad to be here. This is such a cool event. I mean, you can't help but be excited with all these young people and the energy they bring. I mean, it's amazing.
Have you ever been before?
I have been before. I've been to the Nationals a couple times. I've been to the state. But if you haven't been to the Nationals, I mean, this is just an amazing event. Everybody that puts this on, I mean, they need a week off.
At least, right? They got to recover.
Yes.
That's what I always say. I don't think people understand it till they come to something like this and they see, the whole idea of 6,500 young people competing is crazy.
And just the diverse amount of competitions and crafts that are here. We've been at the booth this morning. I mean, we've talked to so many different kids that are competing in different events. I've learned so much. I've been with Brasfield Gorrie for 34 years, and I have learned a lot this morning.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
Good reason to come.
Yes.
Always time to learn. So let's talk about that. First, I want to know why did you get into construction? And then I want to talk about you being with Brasfield Gorrie for 34 years.
Right. Well, so, I mean, I think like most people, I started in construction when I was 15 years old. I was working after high school, didn't like the grocery bag boy or working fast food. And so I started with a little family company called New Cape Construction in Southwest Florida. And I would call every day after school and say, hey, where do you need me? And the owner would tell me to go to this job. He had a wheelbarrow and the broom and the shovel. That's what I did. I'd go and I'd clean up every day. So I did that through high school, and then I moved off to college. Thought I wanted to go in something business, but I kept coming back to construction. And when I got done with college, when it came time to offer me a job, I said, I'm making that already as a laborer in construction. And so I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going in. I had the business degree, but I'm going into construction, and I did. I started with a large contractor and worked there. I worked out at Disney and
cool.
did some things there. And then I got an opportunity to get on with Brasfield Gorrie, who was smaller at the time, but a much more kind of family feel to it. Where I had started, in high school, I really enjoyed that. And I came on with Brasfield Gorrie, and just the way they develop people and the way they care about you, and it's just convinced me to stay. I moved up. I became a superintendent. I ran work all around Florida and in Georgia a little bit. And then in 2005, I took over our field training department. We've grown immensely since then. And now I have 3 other instructors that work for me and an assistant that helps me out. So.
Well, you made a good choice. Made a
Yes.
good choice choosing construction over.
I did.
Went to college. You have your business degree. That's probably absolutely helped you.
Yes.
But
yes, the education. This is what I tell young people all the time when we go talk to a lot of high schools. There was this myth that construction was for dummies. I'm like, I am not here to talk to the dummies.
I love it.
I want the valedictorians that don't want to go to college. They don't want to assume the debt and everything that comes along with that. You want a good career, and we have it.
Right.
I mean, we have it. Our industry has it. I mean, I'm biased that the best one is Brasfield Gorrie, but I mean, the construction industry, it's an amazing place.
You make such a good point, though, because it is absolutely true. There was this whole part where vocational education got this really bad rap, and people thought, oh, we're just going to put people over there that can't really do the math and the science. And then I'm always about do you know how much math and science?
Yes.
Like my husband, who's a welder, does math way better than I do math. Like he's like, it's simple math. I'm like, I can't even catch up with you what you're doing.
Right. Math, science, technology. Our what we call field engineers, other parts of the industry, they call them construction surveyors. Those guys are using robotics computers, advanced software. I mean, and doing all the math that goes along with it. It is not at all for dummies. And when I talk to these kids in high school, I'm like, go to your math classes, go to your science classes, learn these things, then come see me. I'll get you a job, and you don't have to go to college. And, we'll have you making six figures in 10 years, just like if you had a degree.
Right. Yeah, at a much younger age.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really, and I think that's so interesting too, because the math and the science, I feel like when people do things with their hands and they get out there and the math comes to life, like this is why I need to know those fractions, or this is why I need to know this theory, this is how you use it. I think that we are the industry of application for math and science, because then you think about wind loads and everything for crane, I'm like, there's a lot of science behind what you have to know.
There definitely is. And your idea about applying math becomes so much easier for me now to teach, but to learn when you we just had this this discussion in the field training center the other day about how guys come in and they tell us all the time, I can't learn trig. I can't learn trig. Well, we start showing them how it applies to construction layout or figuring elevations or anything like that, and they're going, that's trig? Because I know how to do that. And I'm like, yes, that is trig. And so it is much easier to learn.
Yeah.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Perry Wilson, the NCCER has recently hooked up with him in his hammer math. That's a very good example of how showing how math is applied can help with learning.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, we've seen it just working with him in a very short time. Students, first they're given like this survey and they ask, tell us what these measurements are, and they give a little picture of a tape measure. They have no idea. They help him build that house, and in 2 hours they can answer every single one of them.
Right.
Right. If this isn't like, hello, traditional education, this really works.
Yes. So he's doing a great thing. And yeah, we met with him a few years back. I'm glad he tied in with the NCCER, because I think you guys can help, bring that to life.
We hope so, absolutely. So, different careers you've had at Brasfield and Gorrie. What are some different things, different places you've been that have just they're stuck in your mind?
So, predominantly for Brasfield and Gorrie, I worked in Florida, and I started out as a laborer, rodman. I helped a field engineer. I became a field engineer, which in my mind, or construction surveyor, some call it, but that was the most pressure-filled job I had.
Really?
And I truly enjoyed it, because you are the one responsible to know everything about the location of every single thing on that job. You have to lay it out, you have to mark it, you have to show everybody where it goes, make sure it's plumb, level, all those things. And it's a very high stress, but very rewarding. And I was doing it before all the technology, so my instrument didn't have a battery, and it used sunlight. And we read a dial, and I used a plumb bob and a chain, but it's the same thing they're doing today, just using technology. So that was a great job. I also got into the foreman and running form work, and I loved it all. I just loved doing it, and did all that around Florida, and then got the opportunity to become a superintendent, started running work. It's a different type of stress. You just deal with so many more entities, I guess, because all the subcontractors, and then you're dealing with municipalities, you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with the engineers. So just different along the way, which is good. I mean, it kind of proves that construction, it never gets boring.
Right.
And not only do you change complete projects every year, 2 years, depending on the project, but then you change roles and you have different responsibilities. And I don't know, it's always kept me interested, and I'm a guy that's it's hard to keep me interested. So construction does that, and so I've enjoyed every minute of my construction career. I enjoy now. I enjoy the training aspect. Now I get to see a lot of people, and I get to see young people when that light comes on and they understand. I mean, I get real gratification when somebody starts a class, they don't know how to do something, and then when we finish and they're like, boy, I know how to do that now. That's great. And I really like my role now just because I get to see and so many people at Brasfield Gorrie, and I get to interact and build relationships.
I bet you never thought you would be a trainer or a teacher or anything like that.
Never entered my mind. 34 years ago, I told Mr. Gorrie this. 34 years ago, probably after a year or so, and I found out how great the company was, I wanted to be, would tell people I'm going to have Mr. Gorrie's job. And I told him that. He did just what you did, laughed at me. But I told him, now that I know what I know, I wouldn't want his job.
Yeah.
That job's way too hard and way above me. But I was very appreciative of what he's done.
Absolutely. Well, and I think one of the things you've proven hearing about your career and the different steps is people think there's not career opportunities. They think, oh, well, I'm going to be a pipe fitter forever, and once I do this, I don't have anywhere to elevate my career or do, and that's just not true in construction.
That is not true. We have, so you are a big part of where you go. I mean, and we have people that have started the same position as me and are executives with our company now. And we have other people that love being a field engineer. Like I said, it's a great position. And that's what they've done for 30 years because they don't want to go run a whole job.
Right.
And so it's really about what you want to do and where you find your niche and the things that you like. I mean, 19 years ago, I took over training. I love it. I love the way we've grown. And I like working with like you guys, the NCCER. All that's so fun coming to events like this. I mean, this is, I'll finish my career in training probably, hand it off to somebody else someday.
I think that's so cool. You said something here too that's really important for people to hear about construction is that you can get in it and then you can figure out what space you like. And then if you get tired of that space, you could go to different. I just don't think people understand all the different positions and opportunities in the industry. It's
amazing. We were just talking to some young people over here because they've got so many different crafts or trades going on. There was a young man over here that was in computers. And we were talking to him, and he was just going around trying to get y'all's bingo card filled up. But I said, we have a large IT department. And he was like, really? Construction company? I said, we have a huge, and I mean, they are advanced. We have security people. We have all these things. And if that's not enough technology for you, then we also have an innovation department that's all up on robots and the new lasers and the new instruments. They're doing all that research. So if that's your gig, we got jobs for you too.
We got jobs for everybody.
That's right.
Well, and I love that because that's another misconception about construction is there's no technology in construction. And I've actually heard Brasfield and Gorrie speak at conferences where they're talking about your innovation department and how cool it is because they try things. Some things work great, some things don't. They go back to the drawing board. But it's really interesting, all the different things you guys are trying.
Oh, it's very interesting. I don't keep up with them, but I think last year they ended a partnership they had with Boston Dynamics for a long time. And I think a lot of people have seen that dog robot we had dog. That running around our jobs for a couple of years. And it was amazing. But the honest answer was, and this came from our innovation department, we're not sure it's $1 million amazing. And, so they're making decisions like that. But it was great for innovation. Maybe we move some other things forward. So they are constantly doing stuff like that. And in the construction field, these are my personal feelings. Construction was so out of the loop on technology for so long that now it is ripe with all kinds of innovative ideas in instruments and things like that, that there's all this stuff flooding the market, and we need our innovation department to pick out what's useful, what's not useful. I mean, the equipment, that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, they've got, cats come out with Cat Command. You can run a dozer in Arizona and a loader in New York, all from the same seat.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes.
And that's what I love, though, is that you're right. We're ripe for innovation, and there's all this neat stuff. So if there's young people that are out there that are like, I'm really into technology, and our industry is really heavy into that right now. And I love the idea with Brasfield and Gorrie that you guys are willing to give that room for your innovation department to try things out, get it in the field, and pick out what works and what doesn't work. That's important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. A gentleman named Russ Gibbs heads that up for us. Super smart. I think he came from the architecture world, but he's super smart, and he's always willing to. I called him, I don't know, a month ago. I saw a new instrument, and it projects these layout. And I said, have you checked this out? And I sent him the website, and he said, no, but, we might have to get one of those instruments and start. So, I mean, he's always willing to try anything out, and I mean, he's right in the middle of it, so he gets all the stuff. But that's a cool job for somebody that really likes that technology.
Absolutely.
I mean, I prefer the big equipment, concrete, and things like that, but everybody likes different things.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And again, construction has it. So we keep saying Brasfield and Gorrie. Tell our listeners a little bit about who Brasfield and Gorrie is, what you guys do, what you build. So
I am so excited, and you guys can get me started on this. I can go for a while because I love Brasfield and Gorrie. But we just celebrated our 60th anniversary in Birmingham, where Mr. Gorrie started the company 60 years ago. Mr. Gorrie bought the Thomas C. Well, he clarified this weekend. Everybody says he bought the company. He did not buy the Thomas C. Brasfield Company. He bought the name and the assets of Thomas C. Brasfield, who was a Depression-era contractor who did some renovation, churches and things like that. In 1964, he bought that. I forget, it's in the book. I'm going to give you all a book, but I think he bought it for like $75,000.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
and then he started because he wanted a known name, and he started working. And his philosophy is surround yourself with the best people. And Mr. Gorrie went out and found who we consider the 5 founders: Mr. Anthony, Miss Imogene, Mr. Darnell, and Mr. Harbison, along with himself. And they built this company through the values that hard work and treating others like you would like to be treated. And he just said that again this weekend. And the company has grown over the years. From buying the company for $75,000, we'll do $6 billion in revenue this year.
Boy, was that worth that $75,000.
And yes, and just it's his values, our founders' values, that still guide the company. We believe in treating our subcontractors like partners. Right. We're here to serve our clients that hire us and make sure they're happy with everything they do. But we had a huge party this weekend in Birmingham. The Gorries, the company, everybody that wanted to come could come. The company flew them there, put them up, from laborers all the way up. It wasn't just an executive thing. And we had them there. We took over the whole Birmingham Jefferson Conference Center, and I think 3 hotels downtown. And we had a block party at the City Walk, which, if you know Birmingham, that's right underneath the interstate there. Beautiful park that we built. And then we had a party Saturday night. We had a dinner Saturday night. And then we're treated to a private concert from Vince Gill.
Are you kidding me? Talk about a party. That's a few notches up than the parties I go to. I'm going to say that.
Almost 4,000 people.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. How many employees total at Brasfield and Gorrie?
I think the number's somewhere around 3,700. You know, it's kind of a hard number to pin down. They put on everything, we're over 3,500 now.
Okay, gotcha.
But so between the people that didn't come and everybody bringing their plus one, I mean,
Yes.
I think
That's
it was.
awesome.
I think Jim Gorrie said something like 3,900 were there. I don't have the official.
That's so
numbers
cool.
yet.
That's
Yes.
so cool. That is awesome. It tells a lot about the culture of the company. Everything you've said, which you said, those values, like really, and I think they really go throughout the company. I think young people are really looking for good, solid companies to work for that appreciate their people, that have training and stuff. So obviously you're doing something right.
Oh, yes, and it does. I honestly say it comes from our founders. We started our partnership with the NCCER at Mr. Gorrie's behest. And a lot of people assume that we started training to better the company. And maybe that's a byproduct, but when I first came to Birmingham to take over training, I had a meeting with Mr. Gorrie and we talked about what is the training center for. And Mr. Gorrie, just the way he normally does, he put it pretty simple. Our training is not for Brasfield and Gorrie. It's to give our employees an opportunity to get better at whatever they want to get better at. And so that's the way I've always approached it, that our classes aren't necessarily for Brasfield and Gorrie. I mean, sure, the company benefits from
Absolutely.
them, but our training is all for the employees.
I love
if they
that.
want to participate, if they want to get better, here's a chance for you for free. We'll pay for it.
That's fantastic.
We fly you to Birmingham. We'll put you. Now we're spreading our training centers out. We've got another training center in Atlanta,
Okay.
along with our traditional training center in Birmingham. But so we're growing this one over here. Looking forward to the growth in training. I mean, and a big part of it, Mr. Gorrie was the one that said, well, we need to get a good curriculum, and in the end, that's where we came in with the NCCER. We've been a accredited training sponsor since 1999. And
Wow, you were there almost at the very beginning.
yes. And I looked up this because that was before my time. I took over. Vandale Yates was the one that went through that, headed it up. But I think for a couple of years there, we were in candidate status before we became accredited. So because I found some of our accreditations from '97, so really,
Gotcha.
we were involved 2 years before that. But we became accredited in '99, and then we added an assessment center. So now we're accredited training sponsor and an assessment center.
Which is fantastic.
Yes,
That's
yes.
really great. So when we talk about Brasfield and Gorrie, and we've heard about all the wonderful things, the culture, the things that you guys are committed to, what types of projects? So if somebody wanted to know, what type of construction do you do? What do you build?
So that's hard to put in a bottle. Just about anything except for a house.
Okay, there you go.
We do everything from highway, bridges, power, wastewater treatment plants to hospitals. CHOA, I don't know, I've heard somebody say it's one of the largest hospitals in the country, the Children's Hospital of Atlanta, and makes up a big part of it. Truist Park, where the Braves play. The Georgia Aquarium, the largest aquarium in the world.
Yes.
TK Test Towers is always, nobody knows exactly what it is, but you see that big building up there? I think it's the largest elevator test tower in North America.
Wow.
Football, the College Football Hall of Fame. We do all kind of
I got it.
stuff like
Except for
that.
houses.
Except for houses. Now we've done apartments. We do a lot of condos. If you go to the coast, I mean, I think every other condominium down there on the coast that was built in the early '80s was Brasfield and Gorrie.
Wow.
And so anything that's concrete, power plants, I mean, we'll do it all. If you really depends on, I mean, who we're working for and the clients, we'll accomplish anything. I mean, you can put Brasfield and Gorrie on anything, and
you're gonna do
we'll
it.
get it done.
I believe that too, because you guys have an amazing organization. So being a training administrator, so what does that entail?
So when I started, it meant that I did all the classes.
Oh, you were the teacher and the administrator.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
yes.
I gotcha.
And I have an assistant who she works behind the scenes. Elsa Pintos she is great. She's so camera shy. If you all ever catch her on camera, let me have the picture. But so me and Elsa, we've worked together. She actually predates me at the Field Training Center. She worked for Vandell Yates and John Payne, who preceded me. And then we started growing. You know, there was a recession around 2010. Things slowed down, but after that, we started booming. So I started needing help because the amount of work I have is based on the number of employees we have. And so as our employee growth has grown, my classes fill, which causes me to make 2 classes. And so we've become so booked up. Now I have 3 instructors, and we add in some workforce development things where we go talk to high schools and stuff like that. But I have an instructor based here in Atlanta. I have one in Orlando, and then I have one with me in Birmingham.
Okay.
And then we have some future plans too. So, but our employee growth has not stopped. So
I believe it.
We are actively looking for people.
Just want to do a little notice there. Actively looking for people. So, recruiting and retaining. You talk about a little bit about that. How important is that to your programs?
Well, so one of the classes I do 2 classes a year for our superintendents. And that topic that you just mentioned, recruiting and retaining, is so important to Brasfield and Gorrie that we just spent 2 hours in one of those sessions talking to every superintendent across our company about it. Because we feel like, you know, for years we've put that off on recruiters or somebody else or HR or something like that. When in fact, what we know, our best recruiters and the best at keeping people are our superintendents. And so we have started a whole program to improve. Our benefits for our people have went up this year. The company has tremendously increased benefits day one for everybody from labor on up. I mean,
that's awesome.
When I started in construction, you didn't even discuss. I mean, it wasn't even a thing. I mean, you come here and you start out of high school. If I hire you, you get 401k, you get medical, you get vision, dental, you get all the stuff. I mean, it's great. It
is.
And so, I mean, that's an industry thing. I mean, that's not just Brasfield Gorrie. And I commend the whole construction industry. I mean, it's been a product that because people. Nobody can find people.
Right.
So, I mean, it's gotten better.
Yeah, and it's just raised the bar
Yes.
for everything. What are some other changes, positive changes you've seen in training? Like, so you've been doing this for a while now. What are some things in our industry that you've seen that you're like, these are positive?
Well, and everybody talks about it, the biggest thing for me is the safety.
Yeah.
And safety is just, it's so much better. I mean, it's something we talk about every day. It's something, our innovation department works on safety innovation too, and things like that. And so it's so important to protect our employees. And I think that's attracted people that feel a lot better now that you can go on a construction site and not feel like you're taking your life in your own hands. So that's one, probably the biggest one. But the whole training, I mean, when we started training, there was a handful, and I mean the NCCER probably knows this better than anybody. But now, it's hard to find a company that's not doing
training.
it.
Yeah.
And so, man, if you're a young person and you go, well, I don't know how to do anything in construction. Just about every company's out there is like, well, come on, if you'll show up for work every day and work hard and be committed, we will train you.
Right.
And so there is no reason, and the pay is benefits now. I mean, it's a great place to be.
It is, and I see so many things happening in the industry. Another thing that I've seen in the industry, especially I've been with NCCER for 14 and a half years, and I used to go to some things, and I sometimes was the only woman or a few women or whatever, and I am seeing a difference in that too. what about Brasfield and Gorrie as far as bringing women in?
So we are actively, that is a tough topic, and we talk about it all the time. We have women in the field. They're rare, but I do believe that we are just scratching the surface. And you know, for years, it was not a friendly industry to women. But I'm here to tell you now, we have some really sharp women. I just had one graduate our Supervision 200 class, which is what we put some people on to be superintendents. And she's in the Carolinas. She's got to be one of the sharpest people I've seen come through our 200 class and work hard. And so I highly recommend it. If you're a woman out there, do not be intimidated by a construction site anymore.
Right.
There was a time when I would agree with you that construction did not treat women right. But now, I mean, you have the talent. If you have a work ethic, I mean, we're here to have you. There are lots of jobs. Brasfield and Gorrie has really grown in the number of women working at Brasfield and Gorrie. I would say the sad part of that is that mainly that's a lot of office management positions and things like that. The field just hasn't grown as much. It's grown some, but we are actively working to try to get more women. And I really think it's just kind of, at one time they were intimidated, but we need to get over that now.
We do. And I think you're right. I think a lot of things have changed. I think there's technology like we talked about now. A lot of women in a certain time period through history thought, well, you had to have super strength to be able to do this and all these things. And it's not necessarily true anymore. There's a lot of things that, in fact, the design plan for builders probably prefer, and the safety plan for you, not to simply use your brute strength to do what you need to do.
Exactly. Yes, I would say, you know, we have lifting policies and everything now because, I mean, people were trying to use brute strength and back injuries were terrible. And so people have gotten smart. Well, let's work, you know, that old saying, let's work smarter, not harder. So you come here, we're going to work smarter. You don't need to be Superman and, you know, to do it. I mean, the one thing you have to work in construction is a good work ethic. I mean, there's, you know, depending on the size of the job, there's 100 to 500 people out there working. And I think the feeling sometimes is, well, if I lay out a day, nobody's going to miss me. But we need every single person on that job every day. And sometimes that's where we struggle with the young people. You have to be there every day. You have to be committed. And if you do that, I mean, there's a big reward.
Right. And sometimes that's some of the early things you have to train, right? Like with onboarding or that first 90 days, you have to get people they haven't been in construction, they haven't done this before. So I'm sure that you guys have a specific program that really helps them in that first 90 days.
We do. We have 90-day programs. We've got 180-day programs. We've got all those things lined up, trying to train people, realizing that the commercial construction world, I mean, nobody comes out of the womb knowing how to work in commercial construction. And even like here, a lot of these kids that are they're used to like residential. I mean, a lot of them might have worked on houses or things like that. But because of OSHA laws and stuff, I mean, you don't get to get on a commercial, you don't get to go get on a big, you know, Truist Parks job, pouring concrete and things until you're at least 18. And nobody's taught you anything till that point. So we realize that, and nobody expects you to come in knowing that. And that's why I'm here to help. And we have so many other programs, like you said, first 90 days, 60 days, 90 days, 100 days.
That's great. Yeah, and I think that, again, the intimidation that some people might think not knowing construction, hearing that there's programs like that from the very beginning to help you, I think is really important. So we're already running out of time, which I hate because I would love to pick your brain about some other things. If people want to find out about Brasfield and Gorrie, where do they go? What do they look for?
Well, if you're looking for a job, bghiring.com. Take you there. You can look at every job across our company. You can narrow it down by states or narrow it down by roles or whatever, but and you can apply right there. If you want to know more about the company itself, brasfieldgorrie.com, and it'll take you to our website, which has all the typical kind of history stuff on it, where we're located, and I think there's some great things on there about the Gorries, so it's very interesting. Lots of cool pictures. I go there every once in a while. They change it up every once in a while. I like to look at pictures.
At the pictures. Yeah, some really cool projects. I agree with that because I've been to the website. I've seen the pictures. Thanks again. I appreciate this, but I more appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.